feeling, because when it's coursing through you, you are surprised too. So it's not like being lost and I don't like lose consciousness, or I'm always aware of where I am and aware of my body, but I'm not always aware of where my movement is going to take me.
The Holy Spirit's movement in you?
I think it's the Holy Spirit's movement in me. It's the ability to release
what's already there.
What is there, and moving in and just trying to sense and move with that. So yeah, but I'm aware consciously. I'm not out of my mind or out of my body.
Right.
But there's a real sense that the Holy Spirit is leading the movement. He's orchestrating, He's choreographing. And I've done this when you have people that move that way and you collect together, it's amazing how spontaneously one thing moves and gets to another thing, and you can it's an incredible picture that you can create in the moment.
Yeah. Would you say at that point the dance becomes ecstatic?
Yes, I would.
In a non-chaotic way?
In a non-chaotic way. In a beautiful way. Yes, I would say that.
God before time, we are a vapor, you are eternal, love everlasting, reigning on high.
Where were you?
It didn't matter. If I have been with worship people, and I've been with worship people, and there are people who basically they come up to you and they say, come, and they turn around and they usher you into the throne room of God, and there you are.
That's what dancers do.
And the train of His robe, it fills the temple with glory, and you're there before Him. You're weeping. You're lost in it. You're just. His radiance is so big, you see it, but you don't see Him per se, but He's there. He's just there, you know it.
Sense of His presence.
Yeah, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. And that night was the first time I danced it. And it was just like I couldn't have stumbled. I couldn't have stumbled. I mean, my feet were just going where the Spirit wanted me to go. And it was just amazing that I didn't have to think about it.
What were you thinking about? What was going through your mind?
I was with the Lord. I was dancing. I was.
Your dream, you were floating.
It was. It was my dream. I was just thinking about, and the song was taking me into the throne room, into a place where I've never been before. That's what the song said. Take me through the chamber door to be with the Lord, and that's where I was.
So I started dancing, and my feet, it was like you said, I didn't know what I was going to do. I mean, it was totally spontaneous. And I started doing these turns. I know how the turns are supposed to be done. Your feet are supposed to touch the floor on these turns. My feet never touched the floor. I was just, I mean, I felt like I was dancing on the streets that are golden. I felt like I was in heaven. You know, I was just,
Yes.
that's all that, it was just the most amazing thing. Spirit is dancing through you.
Yeah.
Kind of like you're just on stage doing it by yourself, and there's nothing else that's going to happen at that point. You know, nothing is going to stop you, or you're just out there and you have to go. And it's kind of, it's lot of adrenaline that goes through at that point because you have to do everything at that time. And nobody's talking, it's just you on the stage, and nobody's, it's just your time. When I did Sugar Pin my last year when I was in high school, it was really hard, working on it. My teacher was really mean to me, and I was the one under the lead, so I didn't really get that many chances to do it, and I was really nervous about doing it. And I remember once it was done, I couldn't believe you couldn't believe it's over, that you wish it kept going. But I so wanted it to be, I wanted to get it through, but then once it's over, you're like, wow.
What did you want to keep going? Why did you want
that
to keep going?
That moment, when people are clapping for you, when you're bowing, you just feel like you've accomplished something. Actresses and actors, we do it for ourselves. When I'm in class, I love the physical aspect of it. I love to mold my body, but when you get on stage, it's performance. It's performing for people. And I guess we're all kind of, hams in a way because we get on stage and do these crazy things for people, and it's not normal. It's something very out of the ordinary. And I think a lot of people who do it have, they look at it almost as a spiritual thing. I've known people who were took their dancing very spiritually, actually. Where it's you can also look at it as if you have so many things going on outside, right now, I don't know where I'm going, I don't know where we're going, I don't know what's going to happen in the next 2 months. I don't even know. I could wake up and then, but when you walk in the studio and you're doing, whatever your part is, you're there. You're not thinking about what's going on, outside. And in a way, I think we have so many problems as dancers because we don't know we never know our future, we never know what's going to happen. And I think that may be what keeps us going, because when we do walk in and do it like that, it's almost like an escape. It's when you're in the classroom doing class, that's what you're doing. You don't, at that time, you don't have to worry about tomorrow until you go home at night and, and you're like, damn,
Is
I
that
don't
the
know
same?
where I'm going.
Is that the same for performance then?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
At a higher level.
Mm-hmm.
And I experienced something that was really towards the last years of my dancing. And I realized that I might not be dancing much longer because of what happened there. I felt literally sometimes that I was on automatic pilot. Some sort of automatic pilot. I was not feeling the effort. I knew I was dancing and I was almost looking at it. It was a very amazing, a little bit almost, not levitating. And I was totally not interfering with what was going on.
So you were performing.
And yet I was supposed to be doing it with the flesh and the blood and the muscles and the tendons, but I didn't know it anymore anyway. It was it was going without me.
A sort of an atemporal, non-spatial
That's right.
type of.
Of course, totally, because those things are, of course, deconditioned entirely from the usual conditioning. Of course. So you're taken in charge almost of. You're not doing it anymore. It's almost like, in a way, you realize that you were in a place that you don't get to visit very often, but which is part of you. So it's not something else than you, really. Yeah, it's not something else
inside.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's in the audience. That one night I was dancing Sonatine, which is again something Balanchine did for me with, oh my God, look at this, with Jean-Pierre Bonnefoy. That's very nice. And there was somebody in the audience who came back and said it was just extraordinary. I mean, it was so effortless and just flowing and just, like this. So someone noticed. And I remember that person writing to my mother, because she wasn't there, and saying, I'm sorry you didn't see your daughter tonight, da 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 da. So it happened to be recorded by someone who saw it.
But, actually, one of my favorite dances in the Nutcracker is the Flowers Core dance, where it's just this massive group of flowers, and I just love everything about that. First of all, the Waltz of the Flowers is just beautiful music, and it reminds me of Christmas time and family, and good food for Christmas and all this stuff, and like I just love that music, and that's where we talk about just being swept up. Like you're a flower, you're blowing in the breeze, and the choreography is just so perfect for it, and the music is just very waltz, sweepy, and I just love that part. But it's the magic of the profession, like it's being all consumed by this movement. I keep talking about the movement and the music, but that really is like what it's about. It's about being swept away and just allowing yourself to just be carried. It's the closest feeling I think you could ever get to flying, I think, is just being sort of uplifted by this music. There were times in the fall piece that we performed where there was a choral addition to the music, the Voices of the Last Seal, and it's just this time where everything just seems to come together, the music and the movement and everything, and it's all of a sudden it's about the meaning behind every motion that you're taking. It's not about wow, what does the audience think of my lifting my hands like this to the sky and in pleading for something, reaching for something. It's not about that anymore. There's a time where it completely transforms into something. I think it's one of the most spiritual experiences. I mean, so often people find their place to go to when things get rough. And I think for a lot of dancers, and Ovila has expressed this, is the studio is the place where we go. I mean, that's our daily release of aggression. If I don't dance, you know it usually, because usually there's some kind of tension in me. It's our spiritual release for the day. It's our you could consider it our church service or something. It's a place where we go regularly to find this consistency, this guidance, this direction in life. There's a lot of parallels there. For me, it's incredibly spiritual.